Hi, my name is John Weil. I'm the Vice President GM of Synaptics Processor Business. Yeah, we're happy to announce our new SL2610 Astra product line, focused on edge AI applications. The consideration was helping customers bridge the gap between cloud-based AI applications and what can be cost-effectively put into an embedded application. So the 2610 product line brings out 5 new product families, all focused on giving customers an entry point that's just right-sized for their application and still lets them try out edge AI in their future products. We spent a lot of time interviewing customers. We did dozens and dozens of customer interviews around the world, trying to figure out what is the single biggest problem they have in doing edge AI. And the big one was price point. So the 2610 brings an entry point that we just didn't have before. It brings the average price of the bill of material way lower than the original Astra family, gives just that right-sized performance at a price point. So a lot of people talk about price performance area kind of thinking. This product line was designed to give 5 different entry points for that. Yeah, this part's focused on power. We can do the same kind of voice, vision, multimodality applications, but we can still use the new features in the chip, like the MCU subsystem in it, can do dramatically lower power operation. You can duty cycle how the cores work, how the neural processor works, and the microcontroller can coordinate all of that. Open source is huge. We believe that edge AI applications in what we call like walled gardens, the different ecosystems that exist out there, is not sustainable. And so we've been working with our partners at Google Research, to co-develop hardware and software, both on an open source or open hardware mindset, all in the 2610. So the 2610 is the first culmination of bringing that open source mindset to edge AI. Yeah, there's 5 different product families within the 2610 product line. And whether you're doing facial recognition, factory object detection, camera and security, there's a product there with probably an open source model that meets your needs. And we are working with partners and open source both to deliver production grade models and open source models that you can retrain for applications. So my favorite example for the 2610 product line is the espresso machine that you can talk to. You can have a conversation with it. You can have it brew a cup of coffee and speak to it like you're speaking to a friend. So those types of use cases and the models that are available in open source today, that's all real. It's no longer science fiction. Yeah, you can't have an edge AI device today without having a secure inference capability. So the 2610 also, that product line brings secure root of trust, secure inference, a whole new security enclave that we built into the product so that customers can use AI and feel confident that their product's going to continue to behave the way it's supposed to. And then, of course, with Synaptics connectivity, it's very, very easy to update the weights of those models in the future and still do that in a secure update mechanism. So we have all of that built into the 2610 product line. We think it does. I mean, if you think about the AI models available today and the technology that we all take for granted, much of that came out of Google Research years ago. And so if you just kind of fast forward a few years, you got to believe that there's more interesting things coming. And Synaptics wants to be at that forefront. We want to be there to bring that technology to market with our Google partners. And so again, the 2610 product line is just the first culmination of that. Yeah, so we've put a ton of time into the software first mindset. So our actual, the Torque MPU that is also announced this week with the 2610 was designed with a software first mindset. So we looked at how people use AI models, how would they build those models, how would they train the models, and how would they deploy them. And we built the NPU around that mindset. So I'd like to say software defined hardware, That was the dream. In that particular case, we believe having all of that, those hooks, everything designed to support the customer from day one was built into how our hardware was implemented. Yeah, this MPU really has three key enabling technologies. It has an open source core element based on RISC-V technology that we co-developed with Google. It has some very fast math capability in it, and it has an open source compiler toolchain built on MLIR. So if anybody's familiar with LLVM technologies of the past, MLIR is the next logical step on that. And then within MLIR, we build what we call the ERIE compiler set. So that ERIE tool set, all open source with the MLIR framework, was built by a community. And then we built two hardware components, a fast math setup and a RISC-V subsystem, all together to work within that compiler framework. True fire and forget system. So think of it as two subsystems within the chip. You have the ARM subsystem running Linux or Android or whatever your application stack is. And then on the MPU side, you have basically a fire and forget compute system. So you can load up the model and the ERIE runtime environment on the A cores. We'll say it's time to run that model and I need an answer. And then the MPU will run that model and give you the answer. And everything was designed around performance at a power consumption. So we have a lot of hooks within that MPU to be able to be turnkey and run that whole thing there without requiring the CPUs to get involved. Yeah, for customers that just need to get started, we have versions of the 2610 product line that do not have the MPU. So there are customers that have a 3-year runway where they want to use Edge AI. They don't want to pay for it today. So the 2610 has a variety of pin-for-pin compatible family members. So you can buy a 2610 family member today with no MPU. And then in a year or two, you want to upgrade your product. Same footprint, same design. You can buy an MPU-enabled product from us in the future that will give you a sudden acceleration in your current application. We tried to do both. We designed those blocks to be as extensive as possible to the current operands that we see in models today. And then obviously with the RISC-V CPU subsystem in the MPU, it's extremely extensible. So we can run future, a new algorithm comes out in a couple of years that has a new operand mathematically that we hadn't thought of before. We can process that with the RISC-V subsystem in the MPU as well. It runs really nice, actually. So we put just enough GPU capacity in there. It's a dual core, 2 gigahertz capable A55s, which are 64-bit cores. It's actually just the right amount of compute to let you build most Linux applications. The 2610 product line is designed to bring today and yesterday's cloud models. As we get smarter as an industry, we figure out how to compress those models, reduce the number of parameters, reduce the amount of information that needs to be done. And so if you think about the 2610 as a product that makes another end product, I like to refer to it as the toaster, right? If you think about a toaster doesn't need world knowledge, just needs to know how to make beautiful toast, right? And so we sized the neural processing compute capability of approximately 1 TOPS in this 2610 product line to be really, really good at those small embedded applications. It does a task really well. So object detection, facial recognition, audio processing, mixture of all of the above, it can do it no problem.